Dana McCall, physical therapist, posture princess, lover of movement. So what am I doing today? I'm going to introduce to you an old-fashioned physical therapy exercise that we do for shoulders to gain range of motion of your shoulders so that you can get stronger in your upper back and shoulders and arms. But let me explain this. Number one, everything's connected. So if I help you gain range of motion, meaning I help you stretch your shoulders, then you should feel better if there is discomfort in the neck and shoulders, and you should be able to have the capacity to do better at strength training if that's something you like to do. And actually this is a form of strength training because of using good form creates strength. So what I like to say is I do structure training, which is equal in many ways to strength training. And you're like, oh, come on, you don't have any weight. Well, if you look at dancers, many people know that dancers are strong. But they're strong by the way in which they move and how they use their body with gravity. So sometimes you do need to understand a little bit more about how the body works so that you can understand that you don't have to run to the gym right away to lift weights to get strength. But I don't want to go there. I just want to stretch this out a little bit. I want to get right on the point that I am here. I want to help you gain more shoulder range of motion, more movement in your shoulders, because if you don't have good range of motion in your shoulders, which most people don't because of our lifestyle over a computer and the phone, then you are going to be limited in your strength and you set yourself up for shoulder and neck injuries. Now, I'm a firm believer that a lot of shoulder problems that we see today started in the neck, because that's where the neurological connection is. And when the neck is really tight and it doesn't have the ability to move well, it is going to impact the area called the shoulders and upper back. Now, I cannot tell you that every shoulder injury is because of that, but you can look at this as preventive, or you can look at this as something to help you gain range. It could help you get rid of some discomfort, and also you could just take what you learn here, and if you do like to go to the gym and you do like to lift, you can use the principles I teach you here and you can lift weight better. Now, do remember, most of the time when I work with people in their weightlifting life, they have to drop the amount of weight they're lifting when I adjust the structure, because I make it more efficient, more difficult to lift as much weight. So there's less compromise. So when I change the way you move, it will also have an impact on how much weight you possibly will lift doing a press, any kind of like a over the head press or something like that, because we're going to integrate the structure part. Now, on another note, if you get better range of motion in your shoulders and your upper back, which is all the same to me, then you will be very likely functionally around your house have more strength. So you will gain strength from a functional level, meaning life, doing this, doing that, everyday stuff that everybody ignores. But you may, from a weightlifting point of view, have to drop some of your weight and then build back up. Okay, here we go. Because weightlifting isn't real functional, it's a whole different perspective. Not that it's not good, it's just different. Okay, so I'm going to go to the floor and lie down on the floor. You can do this on your bed. If you will participate with me, you're more likely to have questions that really will help you. If you just think of an idea question and you ask me a question from just watching me, it probably won't give you as much as if you just lie down wherever you are, grab a broom if you want. This is, excuse me, little boo. This is a walking stick, and so I'm going to use the walking stick because it's a little shorter and a little easier for you to see. Okay, so first I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and I'm going to set my neck up well. This is a piece of fleece. You can get a towel, and you can also get a smushy pillow. I see a lot of neck issues because of one simple thing. They try to support their neck and their face is up and their shoulders are back, and it doesn't work. So I'm going to go back on my elbows. I'm going to walk my elbows back, which is already a stretch for my shoulders. I'm going to go down, and I'm placing this fleece, and I can turn this way. Is that good? I'm going to place this fleece a little bit under my shoulders, the top of my shoulders, and then I'm going to squeeze in the fleece so that it contours my neck the way I like. This causes my shoulder and neck to connect, and it supports my neck. At the same time, it supports my shoulders and my head. So what I'm not doing is making a roll and sticking it in my neck like that. I have not found that ever to be effective for people. And what I mean by effective is long term, helping the neck and the shoulder and the head have a better alignment. That's what I care about, because it works. I only care about stuff that works. If it doesn't work, I don't care about it. So, I make a little wedge, smaller down here. I walk back on my elbows, I drop down, or forearm, and I have to finesse this to make it feel like my shoulders and neck are supported. My book shows this really well. You will have to work on it a little bit to get it the way you want it. That's part of healing. Part of healing is being able to finesse and feel, okay, I feel supported in my shoulders, my neck, I like the way this feels. It's a feel thing with me. It's not a right or wrong. Your brain thinks right or wrong. Your body is a feel. It feels things. It says, okay, that feels pretty good. Yeah, I like that. That's supported. Okay. Now, this is, the old exercise is just really just taking your arms back and forth.
Be careful.
Okay, is she right there?
Yeah.
Okay. So, here's what we're going to do first. You're going to take one hand and you're going to come around to your shoulder blade, and you're going to draw your shoulder blade down with your hand. And you're going to do the same thing on the other side. Now this sounds like, oh my God, why are we doing this? Because I want to set your shoulders up in a way that they're going to gain range versus just creating more problem. If you can't bring your hand to here and move your shoulder blade, then do it every day. I could not either. It doesn't matter if you're big or small. It has more to do with the fact that you don't have the range to move your shoulder blades and you don't have the finesse. That right there will change the way your neck and shoulders move. Because our shoulder blades tend to ride up, and they tend to be up on our back and on our neck. I mean, it's a little exaggerated, but that's the best way to explain it. So I pull them down, and then I relax, I stretch my butt out and legs. I don't press my back down. I don't do anything but just let my structure be free. I relax everything. This is structure training. Training your body to relax the muscles and let your structure learn how to do things different, or like they're naturally designed to do. So now my shoulder blades are down. I may feel like my chest is up a little. Don't worry about it. We're going to address that in a minute. So now I'm going to hold on to this comfortably, wherever I like. And I'm going to begin to take my arms back. And you may get to right here, and all of a sudden, sooner or later, you start to feel your chest coming up, your back arching, because this is not moving. So if this isn't stretching, then something's got to give, and a lot of people's back will pop up right there. So at this point, things are important to change or to do. I don't want to force my arms back and have my chest pop up. What use is that? I want to anchor or tell my sternum, don't pop up. And if I tell my sternum not to pop up, you will feel some sort of muscle engaging right in here. So don't worry about what muscle. Just tell your rib cage to hold that as you take back this to the best you can. And you go, that's all I can do. That's pulling on my shoulder. Great. Come back. You may not get very far. It's not how far you get. It's the quality of how you do this. So I pick this stick up again. I start taking it back. I begin to feel my chest pop up. I'm going to exaggerate so you can see. Chest is popping up. Now that's an exaggeration for me, but maybe not for you. So I anchor here, and I take my shoulders, my arms back, and I don't force like, that's it. If that's it for you, that's it for you. You can hold it for just a moment, and then keep your arms straight and come all the way back down and rest. So rest in between each time. Now if you say, I can't keep my legs straight, it hurts my back on the bed, no matter what, it's fine. Bend your legs up. Don't flatten your back. Just bend your legs up till you feel good, okay? Just let your structure go and focus on points in your structure that you do not let them cheat. So in other words, what does cheat mean? Cheat means I get to here and my chest starts to pop up. If I just keep letting my chest pop up, then I'm really stretching my back and not my shoulders. I don't want to cheat, so I bring my chest down, or something in here holds it down. I don't want you to think about muscles. I just want you to just hold it down with the muscles in there. And I want you to feel the stretch in here. So over time, you do 10, you relax, you do 10 at a time. You're working for every one of your moves to be of quality. What is quality? Quality means I keep this down with the muscles in here, and I feel some sort of stretch in here. So over time, when you do this, you get more motion in your shoulder without compromise of your back and your neck. I want to purely be able to move my arm without my neck, my ribs, and my back having to move to compensate. Okay? So I am working on range of motion and strength at the same time because I have no choice. My body will strengthen as I keep certain portions of my spine stable. And I mean by certain parts of my spine was when I put my ribs down. And I kept my ribs down. That was keeping my torso in place, which is my back, which is my ribs, which is my chest, this whole area. So if I was sitting here and did this, if I bring my arm up and my back starts to overarch, this is a good way of seeing it. What good is that for my shoulder? It's not, or my back. If I keep my chest in place and take my arm back, I get a stretch here. Now I just set up and did that because I think it's a better visual, but I really think you should do it lying down wherever you choose because you're going to get the ability to relax better, feel it better. You're not going to do it wrong if you're conservative with how many reps you do and you're consistent. You should do this for like 10 days to 2 weeks every day and see what happened, what changed. Because change only happens with showing up. You got to keep showing up. So there you go. That's kind of the scoop on how you train your structure, which is what I think we ought to be focusing on, so that my muscles can either relax, get strong, and I can get more comfortable. Okay, so now questions.
Let's see here. Darlene in Tucson says, my husband has a frozen shoulder. Is there anything he can do?
Yeah, frozen shoulders are complicated because there's more going on than just the structure and function. We're not, I don't think anybody's really clear on the whole frozen shoulder thing. I don't think there's anything wrong with him doing something like this as long as he doesn't force and get discouraged that the range of motion in his shoulder may stay somewhat limited. But a lot of times with frozen shoulders, other parts of your body will start to guard and get, it will start to influence the other parts of your body. I think it's a great idea for him to do this as long as he doesn't get discouraged that frozen shoulder may not move and change a lot for the time being. They're kind of like, they get better on their own sometimes without any assistance. But I like doing things like this so that the other joints and the other parts of his body do not get all jacked up or tight or uncomfortable and compromised. And if he gets better with it in his frozen shoulder, then he probably doesn't have a frozen shoulder. He probably has something else. I'm not saying it would be misdiagnosed, but frozen shoulders are very unique.
Monty in Nashville asks, I'm not sure why my tight neck affects my shoulder. Please explain more.
Okay, I'll explain, but you really aren't going to understand until you experience it. I can tell your brain all day why your neck and shoulders are tight and they're together, but you're not going to understand it until you go down and really play with it. So, here we go. I'll give you the best explanation I can. Say you're sitting at your computer and your body position for many, many hours a day or many hours in your life is that your head's a little forward, your shoulders are a little rolled, and your hands are like this, or you're on your phone. Your neck and your shoulders, neither one are in an ideal position over and over and over and over and over again. Neither one. And they're very close together. They're very connected. If you can't see that, you just have to go stretch your neck and you'll feel that. Or try to move your shoulder and notice that your neck will feel it. You try to move an arm and you will feel it in your shoulder. You'll feel it in your neck. Or if you don't feel it in your neck, and your neck is so tight that you can't feel it, which is not uncommon, then you have to support it and move your shoulders to find out how these two compute together. I will not be able to ever satisfy people's mindset usually unless I've had this before. And this was kind of cool. Example. I had a client who had really bad back problems for years. His mid-30s, he's a big golfer. His wife had done everything possible to help him, with every kind of therapy and everything he tried. She gave him my book. He read my book. He walked into my office and said, "This makes sense. Let's get on it," and he's fine. The picture of what I explained in my book made sense to him. So in a way, his mindset said, okay, this makes sense. I'm in. I'm willing to try what you do. So my book explains the history and the ideas and the relationship and the practicality to what I do. And maybe that's the type of person you are. It is the type of person I am. It's got to make sense. It's got to be reality-based. I can't just say, okay, my neck and my shoulder are connected. Give me a bigger picture. I'm a big picture girl. He was a big picture guy. So in that way, yes, our minds can have an impact on our bodies. So I didn't want to totally negate that. Okay.
Lou in Williams asks, should I do multiple sets of this movement like I do sets of weightlifting?
I would start off small and build. It's kind of like if you took an Advil. If you take one Advil, the effects of the Advil are going to be different than if you take 7. You know what I mean. Your movement is medicine, okay? So what I would do, one set of these, 10 or 15, go away, bring it back tomorrow. And after 7 days, 5 to 7 days, you're like, I'm fine. It's not bothering me. Then add 5 more reps or add another set. Build, just like you do in weightlifting. You build, you won't get injured if you take small steps, and you won't have a negative issue. So yes, you can build. Yes, like weightlifting, you can add. But remember, you want to take small steps. You don't need to overdo it and then have an injury.
Hank in Mesa says, what weightlifting exercises should I avoid if my shoulder is hurting?
Anything overhead. Just because you don't know how to, because you don't know how. Like if I'm pushing up and my shoulder, I'm going to exaggerate, but let's just say my shoulders are like this and I'm pushing up. Well, it couldn't be great. And then what I see not a lot of, but I used to see a lot of, is when people would lie back on the bench press, and they would bench press and have too much weight, and they would take their elbows back. Let's play like I'm on a bench press. Play like I'm lying down. And they would take their elbows back here, and they'd have weight, and so the anterior part of the shoulder gets injured because there's too much weight and there's not great feel or range of motion in the shoulder. So the better you feel you have of emotion, like if I don't have good feel, and what does that mean? Feel means if my shoulder is sitting up next to my neck and my shoulder's really tight, I can't have good feel. Good feel is when I take my arm forward and back, I can feel my shoulder blade connected. I can feel all sorts of small little movements. I can feel the little nuances of it, okay? If you are a tennis pro, you have a good feel of the tennis racket, but you may not look that much difference holding a racket than somebody else. But the feel that that pro has is totally different than the novice, okay? So the same thing goes for every joint that we move, synovial joints that we are working with. So I would be very careful with bench press and anything overhead. If you grab a bar and want to bring it down, I highly recommend that you know how to bring your shoulder blades down. And there's a lot of controversy of whether you should go back or forward. And I just tell people, just go to the top of your head at first. I mean, you're not getting as much motion, but you're at least not injuring yourself. And I don't really like to give weightlifting advice because of a couple of things. I don't know your body. You know, I just don't know your body. That's one of the biggest things. If I saw you and I saw things and I could recommend and things like that, that's one of the main things. And I'm not a weight lifter. I do martial arts. So when I help people in weightlifting, I get into their world. I make sure that their structure is working. They're getting structure training, and then I let them go from there.
Bev in Flagstaff says, explain more what you mean by better alignment of the neck, shoulder, and back.
Okay, so I'm going to sit here. And so if this is a good little thing to know. So here's the hole in my ears, okay? And if my head is forward, then my hole in my ear is forward from the alignment of my neck, okay? If my hole in my ears are more over my shoulders, that's a better alignment. That's one thing. Let's go with the nose. Chin. If my nose is up high, higher than the holes in my ears, then my neck is tight in the back. If my nose is lower, this is not easy, but if my nose is either in line or lower than my holes in my ears, my neck is nice and long. That's rare. It's rare for people in Western societies to have really good, long, strong necks because we don't carry stuff on our head. And if we carried things on our head, we would find this to be a very important piece of anatomy, but we don't. So part of the deal is I think the hole in the ears help, because if my holes in my ears are in line a little bit more with my shoulder, I can feel that. And if the nose is in line or lower than my holes in my ears, I can kind of feel that, okay, that's better. That's better than that. That would be alignment from the upper body.
You may have answered this. Jeannie in Scottsdale says, it's easier on my lower back if I bend my knees. Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Just don't flatten your back. Don't tense your back. And sometimes, let me show y'all, everybody, a little trick that people love. When they have low back pain and they really want their back to relax while they're lying down, here's a great trick. You're lying in bed or lying on the floor, wherever you lie. Put either a pillow or a couple of pillows, can you see that? And let your heels relax and let your feet rest. It kind of holds you. Don't get your feet way back here to your butt. And don't get them so far away that they fall down. But the cool thing about a pillow down here in your bed, is that it can kind of hold your, for some people, it holds your foot, and it's totally up to the person how it works. It can hold you so that you actually feel a little relaxation in the hips. But your heels have to be on the ground or on the bed.
Stay down.
Okay.
Mary in Peoria says, so should I feel my whole spine touching the floor or bed?
No. No. All right, so here's the game of what should touch the bed or floor. Great question. Can we do that? I may do a whole video on that. May do a whole live video. All right, if I was a kid, I would feel a lot of my anatomy touching the ground. I'd be so relaxed. My back, my butt, everything. And here's the interesting thing. I want more of your legs to touch, more of your butt to touch, more of your upper back to touch. But if you don't have a lot of touch around your lumbar spine, that's actually okay. But if it's not comfortable, then you can kind of stretch your back out and you can have some of your back touch. Where most people do not touch as well as I'd love for them to touch is in their butt and their legs and their upper back. What tends to happen is they feel a whole lot of pressure right here on the sacrum, which is the tailbone, the top of the tailbone. And then when they work with me for a while, they go, oh, that weight is off of my tailbone and it's down here in my tush, in my butt, and my upper thigh. So when I teach classes, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people to feel like there's more weight in their lower body, and then there is it's distributed in their back comfortably. But they're not flattening their back and so obsessively trying to get that low back on the floor. It's literally the opposite. Now, if you do feel your low back's on the floor, but you also feel your legs are on the floor and your back are all, if you feel good with all that, then you're fine. It's not an either or. It's more of get off of this obsession with flattening the lumbar spine. It is literally an obsession. I see it all the time, and it doesn't make any anatomical sense. Now, I am not of the opposite. I'm just saying, why aren't we looking at the thigh bones and the butt and the thoracic and the, da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Because your center of gravity is very dependent on how your butt and legs are relaxing on the floor or the bed. It's really dependent.
Quentin in Houston says, is it bad that my neck tightens when I'm stretching my shoulders back?
Yeah. No, and actually I'm glad that you brought up that it does tighten, because that's common when you want to loosen an area of your body. There could be a guarding of something else. It happens all the time. So what I'd love for you to do is when you do the movement, and maybe you've got your arms, you're lying down, you've got your arms up over your head, you're lying there, that you can kind of see if it'll let go. And if it won't let go, that's okay too. You just keep repeating the movement, and ultimately those neck muscles should relax unless you're pushing your shoulders too hard and your neck just is kind of guarding. So there's a happy place where you're stretching the arms up and back, play like I'm on the ground, and I'm stretching away and coming back and forth. And then pretty soon, this just starts to let go, as long as I'm not overdoing it.
Ellie in Seattle asks, how long should I hold my arms in extension?
Yeah, that's a good question. It really depends on the person. Some people, I like to just have them count, take a breath, count 2 or 3 seconds, so that you feel like, yeah, that's good, and then come back down. For some people, that could really be too long, and they just get to that end range and go, oh, I got to bring my arms down. I work with people that are older, elderly people, that just getting their arm back there, that's a job in and of itself. So bringing it down quickly works for them. So if you feel like just getting your arms over your head when you're lying there, if that is like, okay, that's it, baby, that's all I got, then bring it right back down. But if you're like, got your arms over the head, feeling a pretty good stretch, hang out there for a couple of seconds, bring it back down. You are the best physical therapist for your body when it comes to making these fundamental changes. This is called joint mobilization in a way in the physical therapy world. Physical therapists can work on a joint and help it move better, but you can do the same, and actually you can do a better job, because in a way, if you're doing it yourself, you get a better job done because your body's learning how to do it. Your body's learning how to do it itself. That doesn't mean that joint mobilization isn't needed at times from an outside force like a PT, because there are many reasons why we could use joint mobilization. But we need to help you empower yourself to do a lot of the things that they do, because then you're body smart. And being body smart is the most important thing. Body smart is, I know where my body is, I know how to use my body every day, in my life movements, and that will build into your weightlifting, your running, your walking, your hiking. It will build into every area of your life.
Darlene in San Jose says, I'm pretty limited on how far I can extend my arms back with the pole.
Yeah.
Does it help?
Yeah, it does. Your limitations are where you start. Your arm is designed, unless you've had a shoulder replacement and you have a frozen shoulder, either one of those, your arms are designed to move and shoulders are designed to move just like that. You are designed to be able to bring your arm and where your arm is in line with your ear without a lot of changes in your body. So give it time, be patient, and keep doing it, because you won't know what you can do until you actually put in the repetition and the showing up. And really be kind to yourself and don't force the thing. It's not an overnight deal. Some people it might be. Some people go, wow, I got that in 2 sessions. That was cool. But most people are going to not feel a lot of change right off the bat because the shoulder's been sitting in a position that's really tight. Shoulders are very, very, very important in the way your quality of your life as you age, because they're very connected to your neck, which is very connected to your ability to be upright. And you want to be upright and walking and enjoying life as you get older. And this is where I see the biggest problems are. Head, ribs up. This is where I see the elderly have the biggest problems. And so take the attention now. Give it the attention. Don't wait. Why wait? Why wait? Okay.
Last question.
Oh yeah, good.
Terry in Portland says, how about that lifting exercise where I pull down overhead? Does that tighten my shoulders instead of loosening them?
No. If you're doing an overhead pull down is what I'm assuming you're talking about. I'm assuming you're doing one of these. No, it's how you do it. It's like if I bring my hands are up here, I'm grab the, whatever it is, I don't know. Are my shoulders up at my ears? Am I doing all the work right here and concentrating? Is all the work concentrating in this little small area? Not good. But is the concentration moving through my back, upper back, and I'm coming down and I feel it? That I'm using my whole back as I do it? Don't let the concentration be right here. It's the quality of the movement. My shoulders are coming down and my back, upper back is part of that movement, which is a little bit of another subject. But your shoulder, this is a small part of your shoulder. Your upper back, where your shoulder blades are, that's the biggest part of your shoulder. So don't ignore it. Shoulder, but where is it anchored? Back there. That's where it starts. Okay, this was good. Like, share, email me at McCallMethod.com and ask me any questions you have. I'm happy to help. Take
Subscribe.
care. Oh yeah, subscribe too. There I am. Here I am. I forget subscribe.